And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Games of Dread. So, this is Judge Dredd, the arcade game. Small caveat, this was never actually officially released, and was never actually finished. So, we are going to play through as much of this game as we physically can. Now, this was developed in 1992 by Midway. Now, apparently, they were so chuffed with the success they had with the Terminator franchise, they managed to pick up this. Okay? Now, you may look at it and you may see the Mortal Kombat engine flying around. Yep, it is pretty much that. And the game is a bit of an oddity. It's sort of like Streets of Rage. It's sort of not. Yeah. And because the game's not complete, it makes it even weirder. Now, of course, because it's an arcade game, this thing is evil. As in, truly bloody evil. It's worse than maybe the Robocop arcade game, which I thought was ridiculous, but no, this is quite difficult. The controls aren't bad, and Goro on a leash. Nice little touch. The fact that you can actually punch them to and from the screen is quite nice, and I actually quite appreciate the work's been done into the animations. Obviously, the character models are made up from pictures of real people just in Mortal Kombat, but I don't care. It's authentic. Now, the thing is about this game, apart from the fact it wasn't finished and all that jazz, and there's Goro again, is the fact that you can actually play 3 players. You all play as, I guess, Judge Dredd, and, yeah, it's just different colourings. Now, originally as well, the backgrounds were meant to be destructible.
You're a rat. Onward and downward.
We're going to go fight some of the Angel gang. But the destructibility was taken out. Now, interesting thing about these rats, there's actually quite a nice interview, which I will actually link to in the description, where the developers who were behind this had to talk about the fact that you couldn't just get a rat photo off the internet back in '92. So apparently they got a rat from a pet store and took lots of pictures of it in order to create this. That's dedication. And yes, no drowning. Thanks, City Ordnance. As tough as it sounds, this actually really does capture Judge Dredd really well. It's just a shame it got cancelled. And on actually that, we'll talk about why it got cancelled. The guys behind it literally just gave up. They realised that they couldn't actually physically make what they wanted to make, so they just stopped. It wasn't the developer shutting them down, it wasn't the publisher shutting them down. No, hang on. First boss, Think Angel.
Execution of justice.
I'm going to sink quite a few lives into this. He's got quite a simple attack with the fact that he just mostly rolls up, but it's just a case of getting into the swing of it, and I think I've got my buttons set up a bit crap, to be honest, on the controller. And I also like the life bar. Oh yeah, I forgot he did that. Anyway, where was I? I mean, I'm not too worried about getting killed. I do have the ability to put infinite coins in. Yeah, so they shut it down purely because they just didn't think it was going to be good enough. And that's actually really respectable. There's also been a couple of sort of plans over the years, or at least there was at the time, of how to resurrect the project, but they were all scrapped. Now you may be going, well, this isn't actually probably that far from being sort of made better. Okay. And it's not. This first section, add some more coins. There we go. This first section isn't actually that bad, it just needs a bit of tweaking in terms of difficulty and maybe a bit of enemy variety. I mean, the boss fight's actually really fine. The real problem sort of comes with the later stages.
Vermin come in all forms.
Okay, that's Think Angel dealt with. Please tell me this isn't the section that I think it is. No, it's not. Okay, we're going upstairs. So these first 2 sections, including that boss fight, are relatively simple. There is actually a platforming section. Yeah, just get that into your mind. A platforming section using the Mortal Kombat engine. Apparently the code really didn't like that when they tried to do this. So they sort of fudged it quite massively. And apparently there was meant to be a bike section, like a driving section, which is completely cut out of the game. There is a hidden boss rush section, which we're not going to bother actually accessing, but it is in the code. And I will let you wait and see what actually how the game does end, because it does tease quite a nice a premise. And you got to think as well, this is years before the film came out, so I think apparently they were aware of the film at the time of creating this, but of course it was in its early development. It was nowhere near completed by that point. I mean, I don't think it came out till Did it come out 94 or 95? I'm not entirely sure. We'll be covering that game next time. And actually, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this so far, but it's probably time to. So we're in a side-scrolling beat-em-up, okay? Punches and kicks, fine. Jump animations, fine. Hang on. There we go. The main problem with the game is if you compare it to something like Streets of Rage, it doesn't feel as fluid. Okay, that's your main problem. The enemies seem to be they hit you a lot easier than you hit them, and that's partially because you're not in a 3D space, but the fact that you can punch up and punch down towards and away from the screen does add in some weirdness. Let's put it like that. I've got to admit, I do actually like the voice actor Judge Dredd. It worked quite well. But so yeah, it doesn't actually control that well, but again, that's something they could have actually fixed at the time. But yeah, fully recommend you actually go read this article, because it probably fills in a lot of the blanks that I'm trying to recall as I play this. I mean, it's not a massive game. The actual sections we've got here, it was definitely designed as a bloody a money gobbler. But then, you know, it's an arcade game, so what do you expect? Okay, this guy technically isn't a boss, but he's a mini-boss, so I'm going to kick him in his blue trousers. Look, do you mind pissing off? See, I actually think that's the same actor who played Fink Angel, just reused, the one in the wife beater. If you don't know what that means, I'm just saying white vest. Seriously. Did I lose another fucking... No, I didn't. Now, this is the actual thing. Unlike something like Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Double Dragon, or anything like that, you don't have a special move. You'd think that Dredd would at least have, like, a gun attack. You know, something special with a limited amount of ammo. He doesn't, at least not on this section. And you could seriously tell it's a bloody Mortal Kombat engine game, can't you? I think it's just him. No, I missed the extra life. Not that it matters. I mean, the actual game itself does look really nice, and that is, of course, down to the fact that it uses real people for the character models. Invincibility? Actually, what I think about the character models as well, from what I understand from reading the interview with the guys that made the game, is this actually paved the way for Mortal Kombat 2. In the way that the character models were filmed, the pioneering sort of aspects they did to this game is what then went on to improve the later games of the Mortal Kombat series. That's the first thing I should say. Second thing, the guy that actually designed Goro, the model, also designed the boss fighter Precious Leglock, who is awesome, and I'd forgotten that Precious Leglock was a thing until this game, so thank you, game. You're reminding me about the awesomeness of the Robot Uprising. And also designed Judge Death, but we'll get on to Judge Death in a bit. I don't actually know where we are. I've actually played this through quite some time ago now, probably about a year or 2 years ago, out of curiosity. Ah, Mean Machine. I actually really like the fact that they stuck to the source material. Okay, so Mean Machine, if you don't know, part of one of the Angel Gang, he has a dial on his forehead, and as he turns it up, he gets more and more psychotic. So at the moment, the dial is set to Surly. Unfortunately, the more and more we beat him, the angrier he'll get. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's meant to be that much bigger than Dredd. I've read reports that this is actually literally a scaling problem, that he's actually meant to be the same size as Dredd, but for some reason in the programming code he was made bigger by a mistake. I don't know if that's true, but it would make a bit of sense. Unless, of course, I'm just... this was at a point where Mean Machine was just drawn incredibly larger. Yes, I know you're mean. Mean Machine is very unfair. He can sort of stun lock you in a way. So the good old jump attack's the only thing we can really do here. Yes, I know you're mean. mean, who looked at the Mortal Kombat engine and thought this would be a good idea? Although they did make Sub-Zero Mythologies late years. Well, actually, no, about this time, so no. Yes, I knew you were getting vicious. The actual look of Mean Machine and the voice is actually pretty perfect as far as I'm concerned. Although I always imagine Mean Machine to have a bit of a gruffer voice. So, what I'm trying to say is, I think mostly is the fact that they obviously haven't squandered the 2000 AD license. This game was made by people that really liked the property and tried their best to make a good job out of it, but they failed? Overall though, I still have a lot of respect for the fact that they turned around and said, no, we're not releasing this because we're not happy with it. Alright, anyway, let's finish off Mean Machine, shall we? That is a cheap move. I mean, God knows how much money I would have sunk into this by now if this was legit. Yes!
Mean Machine, you're going to jail.
I think
accomplished.
Mean Machine's dead, Dredd. Okay, end of stage. I think we now get like a mini game between it.
Congratulations. Attention, Judge Dredd. Report to the Hall of Justice.
Yes, we do. We get shooting range practice. This first one, we can't get hurt, but we have to do 2 more where we will get shot with rockets. And the cheap thing is, even though this is like a shooting range midsection, the game is so cheap that if you die during here, you actually use a life or have to put another coin in. That's not fair, game. This is supposed to be a mini-game section. But no, it's still quite happy to sap the life from you. To the best of my knowledge, we don't get anything from actually shooting as many things as we can. But it's nice to actually get a gun for a change.
Objective accomplished. Practice makes perfect.
Well done, Dredd. Okay, I think we're on the platforming level now. Which, the first time I saw it, I was bloody stunned. I didn't see it coming whatsoever.
Congratulations.
There's the model for Precious Leglock. Oh god, isn't Precious Leglock just a cool character? So,
Renegade robots. Cease and desist.
platforming section
Miscreant.
with gunplay. Okay, you can shoot diagonal, you can shoot directly left to right, and you can duck and shoot. As you can probably guess, this is not a nice level. Partially because these bloody robots here spin round and whack you pretty damn quick. And they respawn, ladies and gentlemen. See? Oh, and these guys. From what I understand from the article I've read, they literally, They literally designed these robots and they weren't sure where to put them. They just had the assets and went, well, let's make this. And as like I said earlier, apparently they really struggled to code it, but it worked somehow. It's by far the worst part of this bloody... I'm going to call this a tech demo, to be honest, because as it's not a full release, and it's not like... At least Horror City, in theory, from what I understand, got a release. This was just left in the dust to never sort of see the light of day. And then you've got weird, curious people like me that have to play it because it's got the Judge Dredd license on it. But look at this. So you've got guns everywhere. You've got these bloody ball things chasing you around. It's really easy to drop off the sides. I mean, even the guys that did this said this was ridiculous and probably a big mistake. Can you imagine if this had actually gone to market with this section in? I mean, by all means, yes, it switches up the gameplay, but it's not fair in the slightest. Seriously? Seriously? Will you please piss off? Right, this is the exit to the section. Now, I can't remember if we just have to destroy the robot, or destroy all of it, or destroy both of these. Well, we're meant to get sucked up by the medivac. Did I? Yeah, I can't go back that way, so this is definitely the exit. Right, come on. Okay. Thank you. Now we're going to go fight Precious Leglock. I actually really like this boss battle. It reminds me a lot of Escape from New York, where Kurt Russell's thrown into the boxing arena. It's a really nice model of Leglock anyway, and the idea that you've got the electrified ring ropes is quite cool. Although Leglock is kicking my ass. I actually do quite like the fact you can knock him into the ropes. You can knock him into the ropes, sorry. It's not just something he can do to you. So we have Destroy, Crush, Maim and Hurt. And currently he's on Hurt. Now he's on Maim. I really don't have a strategy for many of these boss fights. It's literally just a case of jump kick seems to be the thing that works. Now, I'm trying to remember, but I think this is actually the last boss fight we will actually come across in the game. So that is Think Angel, Mean Machine, and Precious Leglock. Judge Death was meant to be in the game, and apparently was actually programmed, but it never got that far. They scrapped it before he was implemented. Or at least that's from what I seem to remember. What are we doing? Okay, he's on Crush, so we're getting there. But again, I would have sunk a fair amount of money into trying to kill this guy. The lack of sort of combo moves, grabs, and specials makes this a lot more difficult than it needs to be. I mean, yes, you can do the Mortal Kombat uppercut, but that's about it. And yes, before you ask, I did try and actually input as many Mortal Kombat moves as I could remember. Unfortunately, none of them were programmed in. I was just hoping for something, you know what I mean? Right, Precious Leglock defeated.
Leglock, you're going to jail.
Okay, I think we've got another training section. We've got 2 more training sections, and I believe only 1 more main mission section.
Attention, Judge Dredd. Beware, live round.
Okay, so this time we can actually get shot by rockets.
Never a dull moment when you're a 22nd century cop.
Very true, Judge Dredd, very true. The only thing I really haven't mentioned about the game so far in terms of the actual technical limitations of the actual cabinet, when it was made, and I will put up some pictures of the cabinet later on when I do my sort of rounding up final thoughts of this thing. Now, you may have noticed there's only actual 3 players, and apparently that's something to do with cost. To actually have the space to put 4 players on would have required a bigger cabinet, so they just went for 3. And apparently that's the same sort of thing they did with such games as Alien Storm.
Objective accomplished. Learn about the law.
Indeed. So the idea that yes, you could have up to 4 players on these things, and it was actually easy enough to program, but cabinet size, of course, was an issue.
Mission accomplished. Excellent.
Okay, I think this is the last one. It is! Block War! What's quite nice about this level is it shows off the complete insanity that this game needed more of, and if it had had more of it, would have worked great. So, okay, there's a block war going on. You need to basically shoot the block warriors to delay the cannons. So this is a shooting level. We can pick up different types of ammo, we can pick up incendiaries, homing devices, God knows what else. And the main thing here is to survive for 3 minutes. It's surprisingly a cool little level. And if more of the game had been like this, it would have been an instant success. Well, on the home market, I think it would have done well. The real bugger here is remembering to shoot up, and because I've got my controls a little bit jankily, I think I've got crouch and shoot up reversed. So if you see me continuously crouch, it's because I'm trying to shoot up and I forgot. I should have redone my controls before I started recording the video, but I can't remember. I've set them up to something specific. A different arcade game I was emulating. Oh. Well, I went flying. So yeah, this is. It may not look fun, but this is really surprisingly fun. The longest time I wasn't actually able to complete this. And this is before I knew all the information actually about the game. I always assumed
Armor piercing.
it was a complete product and it kept going.
Incendiary.
So it wasn't until a couple of weeks ago where I finally picked this up and completed it that I was sort of like, oh, I better do some research about this then, hadn't I? And I do find it odd that out of all the game sort of licenses there are, that Judge Dredd has 2 games that weren't actually completed but have been leaked on the net, or
I'd take you in, but
salvaged by Hungarian companies. I have no idea what that is. It's the first time I've seen it. Apparently, I got some sort of shield. Okay, 1 minute 14. The green cannon has problems, so I need to kill more green troops. But I'm mostly getting red ones, which isn't helping. Right, I think I've finally sat through my supply of credits. That's embarrassing. So what's that? Would it be a quarter a time per credit? So actually, I haven't spent, I guess I haven't spent that much on it. 10 quarters? Okay, 30 seconds. They're up, and see, this is the thing, there are bombs, but don't even ask me how to trigger them. I've never quite been able to figure that out. Come on, 12 seconds. We are just gonna make it. And there we go.
send in the riot foam. Objective accomplished.
Okay, so that's actually the final proper level in the game. Like I said, there is actually a boss rush mode, which the developers can't even remember programming, apparently. But we're not going to bother accessing that. We can only access it by doing, like a sort of, not a cheat code, but by bypassing some settings in the menu. So the game ends with one more training section and a screen indicating what's going to happen next.
Beware, live round.
Now this is what I was talking about earlier. Not only have we got to sort of miss innocence, but we've also got bloody rockets coming at us. This actually reminds me a lot of the Robocop face recognition stuff, where it's designed to basically put a middle finger up to you and go, yeah, so you managed to get this far, now we're going to put a puzzle in. Actually having the ability the game owes to kill you is not fair, but oh well. And there we go.
Objective accomplished. I am good.
So there we go. That was Judge Dredd the arcade game. An interesting little piece of history, and I do in some ways wish they'd actually finished the game, but I completely respect why they
Mission
didn't.
accomplished. Excellent.
And there we go. Apparently, as you can see, the Judge Dredd model was actually completed, and the boss fight was mostly programmed, but that's where it all ends. So then we get to put our name in. So, let's do some final thoughts then, shall we? What we have here is a love letter from two fans who really enjoyed 2000 AD and wanted to try and make the best game they could. Unfortunately, that didn't quite work out, but overall, I can understand what they were going for. Some of the sections of it are fantastic, and my god, that cabinet looks bloody awesome. It's a shame it didn't turn out well, but at least they had the sensibilities to can it before it went too far. As always, a big thank you goes to you for watching this video. If you missed the last episode, feel free to click on the annotation that's being shown on the screen right now, and the annotation for the next episode is there also. If you're watching this at a time the next episode hasn't been released, feel free to subscribe and it will let you know. Cheers to watching, ta-ta for now.